What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj, and today we have a little quote here from Rudy Gobert. This is going to be the topic of the video, and this is from Bleacher Report on Instagram. I saw this quote. It says, Rudy Gobert on who is the best center in the NBA. Jazz center Rudy Gobert had a little thing to say, and he said, right now, I think it's me. So basically what we're taking away from this is the fact that Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert thinks that he's the best center in the NBA. Now, look, honestly, you can't really get mad at him for answering this way. And it's because you ask any NBA player that's at least, a proven starter or even a star, no one is going to answer with, oh, I think this guy's better than me. There aren't NBA players out there, or at least there aren't a lot of them. I don't think you're going to find a guy that will straight up tell you that someone else is better than him, unless it's like maybe LeBron. But still, I don't think you're going to get that answer out of someone. Maybe there's a guy out there that thinks LeBron's better than them, but they're not going to say it. I mean, honestly, you want your players, as a coach, as a fan, you want your players to think they're the best and play like they're the best. I mean, honestly, you don't want it to go to their head, obviously, but look, you don't want to have a player out there saying, yeah, I'm worse than all these guys. Like, no, you gotta have confidence in yourself, and you've seen people answer this question. A few years ago, they asked James Harden the same thing. He's like, yeah, I'm the best player. I mean, James Harden also saying that he's the best all-around player in the NBA, which was laughable at the time considering his defensive ability at the time was laughable. Now, they asked this to Derrick Rose back in, I believe it was 2012 or 2013 after the injury when he was recovering. They asked this to Kevin Durant, I think, at one point, and he's like, yeah, I mean, all these guys, they think they're the best. And I think maybe Kevin Durant, there was something about how he wants to be the best, how maybe he's not the best, but he wants to be better than LeBron, went back when he was in OKC. The fact that he said this, I don't think we should not get too far into this, just because it doesn't really make sense for Rudy Gobert to say, oh yeah, well, DeMarcus is better than me, and Hassan Whiteside is better than me, and Cat, and whatever. Like, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. Now, we're actually going to talk about this and how true this is, because I don't have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to be honest, I really didn't have an idea, and then, Rudy Gobert made headlines by saying this a day ago, and I'm like, well, you might as well just look at the centers in the league and just figure out why this isn't true. Now, I'm going to go over my case for why this makes sense, for why Rudy Gobert could really be the best center in the NBA. And as funny as it might sound to people who are thinking, well, how could you forget about Boogie? We're going to talk about something that, the best way to make a point. The Utah Jazz right now are the 5th seed in the Western Conference. They would be the 3rd seed in the East if they were an Eastern Conference team, and they have had injury issues for the entire season. I mean, they've been missing 4 to 5 starters for so many of their games, and it seems like they have never been fully healthy. Now, if they're fully healthy, maybe we see a better record than 18-10, and they've actually been on a roll lately. They've won a really high percentage. They've won 8 out of the last 10 games, 4 in a row. So they're clicking right now, and they know what they're doing, and I think that a huge reason why they're winning games is because of Rudy Gobert. He's been healthy, and to be honest, mostly healthy, I would say. The Utah Jazz, despite all these injuries, they still have the number 1 defense in the NBA, and guess who anchors that defense? None other than Rudy Gobert. And I've said it a million times, people don't appreciate defense enough. People think of it as just another one of the things that we do to go along with, you can be a good shooter, a good defender, a good rebounder, a good passer. You just throw it in. It's just one of the things. But defense is hugely important, and Rudy Gobert preaches that. And I think that's you see other guys around the league, like Patrick Beverley saying that he's the best defender this year. Draymond Green wants to win the Defensive Player of the Year award and shit like that. And Kawhi Leonard, we all think of Kawhi Leonard because of defense. But most of the stars in the NBA we know of because they're offense, like James Harden, Russell Westbrook, those guys, Steph Curry, especially Kyrie Irving. Those guys are known for their offensive ability. And I'm not saying any of those guys particularly are bad defenders. I know Russell Westbrook is a pretty good defensive player when he's not gambling for steals, which he hasn't done as much this year. Russell Westbrook is one of those guys, though, that, we think of him. When we think of him, we don't think of him playing defense. We think about what he can do scoring the basketball, getting triple doubles. And I get that, but people still don't appreciate the defensive ability of guys enough, and Rudy Gobert can make a case for himself. When you think about defense, I think Rudy Gobert is thinking right now that defense is just as important as offense. Look at Rudy Gobert, you can look at some numbers right here, you could say, oh, well, Rudy Gobert, what he does is he anchors the best defense in the NBA. Not only that, but he also has the best field goal percentage in the NBA. And he averages double-digit rebounds and points. He averages 12 points and almost 12 rebounds, 2.7 blocks. He's in the top of the league in block shots. There's no reason why you can't consider. I mean, he's second in the NBA in blocks behind Anthony Davis. That's pretty impressive if you ask me. But what Rudy's saying here is that, you look at the numbers, you can make a case for me. Now, as great as Rudy Gobert has been, and it's a shame that he hasn't gotten as much credit as he deserves, because I do believe that a guy like Rudy Gobert should be, receiving more attention than he has, just because of what he's done with his injury-riddled team. He still led them to the best defensive team in the NBA this season, and that's absolutely fantastic, to be completely honest with you. I mean, Rudy Gobert is a great player and not a guy that gets a lot of credit for it. He's a rim protector, rebounder. He's kind of like your DeAndre Jordan in a way, except I say a little less athletic, but he's bigger. I think he's stronger. He's definitely taller, and not bigger. We'll say he's taller. I don't know. Is he bigger? DeAndre is pretty built, but I wouldn't say Rudy's as strong as DeAndre is, but he's definitely taller, and that helps out. He's got a super long. His wingspan is ridiculous. That's one thing that you know about him. And yeah, overall, so he's shooting 69% from the field. That's it. DeAndre Jordan is usually the leading guy in field goal percentage, but this year it's been Rudy Gobert. But here's why this can't be true. It is because DeMarcus Cousins is still in the league. What DMC has been doing this season, even though the Kings are 10-17, he's been going absolutely crazy. He's doing all he can, and I'll excuse him anytime I can for not winning games, because that shitty Kings organization, not putting pieces around him and not trading him yet. And I saw Mike Krzemba's video about, a possible Boogie trade to Boston. I'm like, as a Bulls fan, I don't like it, but it would definitely be good for what I'm talking about, because I do want Boogie to leave Sacramento. And I'm thinking, if he's on the Boston Celtics, he's playing with Isaiah Thomas. I mean, they're going to get rid of a few players in exchange for him and picks too. But that would be a crazy team, a championship contender if it all works out. And there's a good chance it does or doesn't, but that would be crazy. But Boogie is still doing things no one else is doing. Boogie is an incredible scorer. No, you can't give the ball to Gobert and say score. Gobert has absolutely no jump shooting game. He's a great defensive player, rim protector, rebounder, and that's all fantastic. But he's not as he works in a certain system. He works as a rim protecting big that can do a few things, but he's not the center you build around, I don't think, as a star player. In a way. I mean, I guess you could make a case. You think about it, this is a guy, I don't know. He's the type of guy you put around someone else. You get a team with a great scorer, or a player, teams don't want to go to the rim against Rudy Gobert. He's one of the best shot blockers, rim protectors in the league. I mean, obviously. I don't think that's a guy you build around. He's not your franchise centerpiece. And that's where it changed. That's maybe he's trying to say, okay, well, I'm not a franchise centerpiece. Well, I'm still the best center in the league. I don't think so. He can't do as many things as a guy like, as I said, DeMarcus Cousins, Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns. Hassan Whiteside is kind of like him in a way. I mean, they're both really non-shooters that can do a lot in terms of rebounding and blocking shots and stuff. They're pretty related as players, DeAndre Jordan along with them. But yeah, I do still think that he's underrated. I don't think he gets enough credit for the defensive stuff. But hey, I mean, best in the league, I wouldn't go that far. But I wouldn't get mad at him for saying it either. As I said before, like, you want to be this confident. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Hopefully you guys can give me an idea, so that I won't have to struggle with coming up with them. And yeah, let's please hit up if you enjoyed, comment an idea down below, subscribe if you're new. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.